In this video, we're going to implement first and the basic version of creating posts without attachments or any extra features. We're going to implement frontend as well as the backend and output posts on the home page. Now let's commit the things what we changed. Implement updating profile details. Hit on commit. Okay, it seems like it was failed again. Git status. Yeah, it was failed. Now it was committed. Okay, basically now I'm gonna close everything and I'm gonna move on creating posts because I think that's the most important thing, and we did so far have not done we haven't done anything regarding the posts. So let's go to the home page actually, and here we have these my groups and my followings and posts. Okay, let's open home controller. Okay, cool. These my groups and my followings, those are hard-coded and can stay hard-coded for now. I want to focus on creating posts. So we're gonna query posts, existing posts. We need, let me think, we need probably pagination, but I'm gonna implement the load more functionality on the posts. I need to provide query, and then I'm thinking that we need paginate. Probably we're going to only return like first 20 posts. Okay, and then we're going to get and let's pass right here posts to be our posts. Let's open home.vue. Post list. Okay, we define the props. Inside the props we're going to have posts, which needs to be array of or object. Let's define an object. I'm not sure what it should be. And we're going to have posts. Actually, that should be posts. But right now we don't have any posts, right? So this will not print anything. Okay, let's start working on creating posts. Now this post list is still dummy. We can leave this dummy until we implement creating post. Okay, when we click right here, which is actually div, when we click, we set the post creating to be true. Click here to create the post. What if we change this into text input? Okay, let's maybe give it, let's remove all the classes from here. Let's give it placeholder. Click here to create post, and let's give it full width. Okay, so here is our pagination result. Let me delete them. We don't have anything in the data. Yeah, I'm just going to remove it. I want to make this to be text area. So text area. Let's give it, let's remove all these CSS classes from here. And I'm gonna grab some CSS classes from my profile page from this. So I'm gonna go into edit.vue. This is the text input, but as far as I know, we don't have text area. So I'm just going to give the classes, CSS classes, or maybe just like we have text input. I can't call this text area because text area is the default name. Okay, let's just copy this for now. Maybe we can create later reusable component, but for now, let's just copy it. Okay, go to the home page, reload the page. Okay, there is some, it needs to be an empty. Now we see this placeholder, click here to create new post. I click and we see that. Okay, let's provide here rows to be 2 or maybe 1. As soon as I click and start typing, it needs to resize automatically. Do we have this auto resize or something like this? Okay, let me start new conversation with ChatGPT. Text area auto resize. Okay, it needs to be JavaScript that does this. I thought, can this be done without JS, with only CSS? Okay, it seems like there is no solution to do this with pure CSS. Okay, how to do this with vue.js? Okay, let's try this solution. Maybe it's going to work. I actually can understand what's going on here. On input, it is measuring what's the scroll height of the text area and just assigning the text area height with that. So I'm going to duplicate this text input and call this input text area. Okay, that needs to be text area. Let me collapse. Okay, so this is the text area, and we're gonna listen to input. On input change, let's actually do this below. On input change. We are going to do this emit, but we need to define, we're going to accept an event here, but we need to define this emit. We have this define emits, and let me assign this const emit equals define emits, and here I'm going to emit, so that's going to work in the same way it was working input text area. So this is going to be input text area. I'm going to remove all the CSS classes except margin bottom and width full. Let's change this into self-closing. What just happened? And that, what's wrong with that? Model value is missing. Okay, I can provide vModel, and this needs to be new post ref and body. So basically here I'm going to provide new post dot body. And let me output also new post dot body. Okay, it works, meaning that my emit is triggering, but what we need to do is that functionality on input. So I'm going to get this. This is the vue.js version. Okay, how to do the same thing with Vue 3 with composition API. Hopefully it knows. We're going to provide the ref, auto resize text area, value style height. Yeah, that makes sense. We're going to define right here const auto resize text area ref to be null, and we're going to provide that ref to the text area. Actually, it has ref input, so let's define. We also have input. Good. So now here input dot value dot style height and input dot value style height dot value. Okay. Okay, let's test this. Something. Okay, cool, it's working. And I'm going to add one additional prop to this text area, and that's going to be auto resize. Let's do this camel case, auto resize. It's going to be Boolean. Let's actually specify object right here, type Boolean, default is going to be false. And then down below, if auto resize is defined, then I'm going to do the auto resize, but I think we need to define props, and then I need to access props. Auto resize is true, then we're going to do the auto resize. By default it is false, so if I start typing something, it doesn't do auto resize. Maybe we can set this by default to be true. Okay, this is cool. I'm gonna remove that post. Awesome. something. This is my first post. And I'm going to hit submit, and that should be saved in the database. However, we don't have that handled, implemented, so we are going to define form. Text input needs to be removed. So const form equals use form. And we need body to be an empty string. And I think we can just call this new post form. And then we can bind this new post form.body here, which should work. Let's actually print new post. It is body. So new post dot body. Okay. At the end of the project, we are going to deploy this on shared hosting using GitHub Actions. As a choice of hosting provider, we're going to use Hostinger, who is very kindly sponsoring this entire project. Hostinger is one of the best shared hosting providers out there. I discovered their services about 3 years ago, and I moved out all my PHP websites from VPS hosting of another hosting provider into Hostinger's shared hosting. There are several great benefits. Very fast and secure servers, full configuration on your PHP versions, extensions, and settings. Nice and modern user interface from which you can manage your domains, DNS, SSL certificates, emails, and much more. Integrated SSH and Git support. Affordable prices. And if you are not happy with their services, they also offer 30 days money-back guarantee. Their premium and business hosting includes free domain, support for 100 websites, unlimited number of certificates, and much more. For a full list of features, visit website hostinger.com/thecodeholic or click on the link in the video description. If you decide to grab hosting, during checkout use coupon code TheCodeHolic, which will give you extra 10% off on already discounted price. And thank you Hostinger for sponsoring this entire project. Now, let's listen to this button click, this submit button click, and I'm going to trigger the new post for submission. Well, actually, I'm just going to call post method on this form, but maybe I can actually change this into form. I'm going to open Inertia's forms again. Here we have the form on submit. We just call the submit. Okay. It really doesn't matter if we're gonna have form HTML tag here or just listen to the button click. So what I'm gonna do, the attached files basically should be type of button, but I'm still gonna listen to the click. So I'm not gonna introduce the new form here. I'm gonna listen to create post, or let's just call it submit. Okay. Let's define function submit, and then on this new post form, we're gonna call post, and the root will be so actually we don't have the root for this. We're gonna define it. Let's go into web.php to define the root. Okay, the user needs to be authenticated to send the request here. And I think we need new controller for this, post controller maybe. We're going to listen to post, and let me define the post controller. PHP artisan make controller post controller. And I'm just going to provide dash model equals post. I think this is how we should provide, and it created post controller. Let's open now post controller, and we have this index, create, store, show, edit, and update. I don't want all of them. Index shows just all the posts, which is something I don't want in the post controller. A create just shows the form. I don't want this. I want store, so I'm going to leave that. Show just displays a one single post. For now, I don't want that. Maybe I can add this later. This shows the edit form. I don't want that. I just want update and destroy. Okay, awesome. So this is create. And I'm going to also create new post request. Store post request. PHP artisan make request store post request. And we also want update post request. Now, instead of request right here, I'm going to use store post request, and in the update, I'm going to use update post request. If we go in the store post request, we are going to define, what did I do? Oops, I created resource. I should have defined request, make request, update post request, and store post request. Let me hit the enter. Request. Now I'm going to go into resources and delete them. Up, HTTP, resources, store post request, and update post request needs to be deleted. And under request, we have those two classes. I'm going to go into, I have incorrect imports right now, and I'm going to import up HTTP request store post request, and the same for update post request. Inside store post request, okay, basically anyone who is authenticated should be able to create the post. So I'm just gonna type true here for now, and inside rules we are gonna provide just the body needs to be required. Well, maybe it is not required, because in the future we might create only image type of posts. Okay, and that should be string. Body needs to be nullable and string. That's it. Now in the post controller, I will get this request validated data. So my data will be request validated. Okay, and I'm gonna also open post.php, the model, which doesn't have fillable, so I'm gonna add fillable here. That's gonna be body. For now, it's gonna be only body. Okay, now post create, I'm passing data. This will return new post. And once the post is created, we have this validated data get, and post is created. I need to redirect user to route. Well, let me think. The post can be created from different places. Let's fix this syntax error. A post on posts endpoint, and post controller class, and the method will be create, and the name, let's move this name on the next new line. The name will be post.create. Maybe this should be singular. We're going to make post request on the post endpoint. Okay, so let me just fix the syntax errors, and I want to talk about something. So the post can be created from different places. It can be created from here, from the home page. If we go into my profile, I think I should be able to create my post from here as well, right? And maybe if I go inside the group, I should be able to create post from inside the group page. When the post is created, I now redirecting back to the home page or to somewhere else. I think we just need to redirect to back. Yeah, this is it. Post is created and we redirect it to back. Let's try this now. On the home page, I'm going to open the developer tools. So this is my first post, and from the home create post, we're going to make request to post.create, and that should be it. Okay, my first post. I'm going to hit on submit. The request is made. Post controller create doesn't exist. I think it's called store. Okay, my first post, hit on submit. User ID doesn't have a default value. Okay, if we have a look in the post table, we have a couple of required fields. Group ID. Why the group ID is required? Let's check the migration. Database migrations, create posts table, and actually group ID is nullable. Okay, it is nullable. Only thing that is required is user ID. So we need to provide that. Let me get the current user. That's going to be user unknown function user. I think it's called auth. Yeah. So I have this user, and inside data we are gonna put the current user as well, or maybe we can fill this from the request. Okay, I need to now remember the requests documentation. Okay, this is something else. I think I need form request validation. Okay, this is good. Performing additional validation. We have possibility to write this additional validation in the after. Redirect location can be customized as well. Authorizing form requests. Yeah, this is good. This is good. We might need that part. That's basically checking that if the user can update specific comment. Preparing input for validation. Prepare for validation. What I want is this. This is it. Past validation. So if I want to normalize any request state after validation is complete, you may use past validation method. This is what I'm gonna use. So in my store a store post request, I can write past validation, and I'm just gonna replace. So I'm gonna call this replace user ID needs to be auth ID. Nothing is returned from here. And what does this replace do? Okay, so it should replace, but if the user ID doesn't exist in this request data, it's gonna provide it probably. So here, if I provide data, but before I data, let me just dump and die entire data. So I hit on submit. Undefined property auth manager ID. Okay. Auth user ID. This is how it should be. Okay, so the replace basically obviously is trying to replace, but we should have add or set or something. Don't we have add? Okay, maybe we can check this part again. We don't want to replace. It seems like we don't want replace. So let me ask ChatGPT this part. Okay, in Laravel, form request class has this method. Okay, how can I add my custom value in form request after the validation is finished? Let's see. Inside past validation, we get the validated data. Access the validated data using the validate method. Add your custom value to the request data. Okay, so instead of replace, we want to use merge. So if I use merge, I think that should do the job. Click on submit. Hold on. Let's test this. Test. Click on submit. Okay, let me just print what is this user auth. Okay, it has attributes and it has ID. Okay, it seems like this merge does not this merge doesn't work, probably because this user ID is not defined in the rules. I have a feeling that that might be the reason. Okay, does this work if I don't have custom key defined in my rules method? Why does it get this validated data? I don't understand. Let me just copy this entire thing. And let me just add user ID equals to some custom value. Let it be some custom value. Reload, test, hit and submit. Yeah, obviously it does not have user ID. Okay, what if I provide user ID to be, let's say, numeric? Okay, there's another method called prepared for validation. Let's search for this. In which case we also call merge. We call merge, we provide the user ID. We have this rule. It's not going to probably work in this case because our rule inside errors we see that the user ID field must be a number, and here we have this numeric. So what we can do is just use auth user ID, and the user ID is here. If I just remove the user ID from here, it's not going to be presented. So now I get confused in which case this past validation works. Okay, is this past validation used in different places? No, this is the one place. Past validation needs to be void. And I'm just trying to push user ID there, which does not work. Okay, in our case, I think prepare for validation will work as well because we are using the currently authorized user's ID here. So that should work. If we go in the post controller, I'm going to remove this dump and I'm going to click on submit. User ID doesn't have a default value. That's because the user ID is not in the fillable. User ID. Let's click on submit again. Now, I think the post has been created, and let's check the posts table. Okay, here we go. We see the post. That user made that post at that time, and this is good. Let's go into create posts again, and I need to listen to on success. And when this happens, I want to reset my form. Is there any possibility to reset the form? Form reset. Let me just call new post form reset. Let me just remove this pre-tag as well. My another post. Hit on submit. It gets resetted and the post needs to be created. Okay, we are going to return just created post. Okay, we actually redirect to back on the local host, and the local host should select that post. I mean the local host, which is the home page. So if I open now home controller, here we are selecting post and passing the post right here. On the home page, let's go in the post list. Here we have two posts. We accept the post from here. I'm just going to print posts. Okay, now as we see, there are two records inside data of posts. And if I create another one, then there's 1, 2, and 3 already, which is good. Let's apply here latest. So we want latest at the top. As simple as that. Okay, if we have a look at the post list format, what do we have? We have everything about the user. We have the ID, avatar, and name. So these are the basic things what we need. And I think we need the username because we're going to do then the profile linking based on the username. I'm going to make now post resource. PHP artisan make resource post resource. Hit the enter. Let's open post resource. From the post resource, we are going to return the post ID itself, we need post body, we need created it when the post was created, this created it, and let's return updated it as well. We also need to return the user information. So who made this post? And in our case, that's going to be this user. Okay, I want to create now relation from post model into user. So here I'm going to define user that should have has one. Okay, let me first write return this. The post has one or belongs to. The post belongs to user. And let's update the return type. Oops. This is it. Let me replace this with the import so that we can have this belongs to right here. Now post has user, access to the user. So I'm going to return from here the user, but I'm going to return user resource, this user. And we're going to also have attachments. I'm going to close unnecessary files. Where is the post list? Here we have the attachments and we have group as well. Group is null. Attachments is an empty array. So let's define those relations in the post. I'm going to duplicate this user. I'm just going to call this group. Here we're going to have relation into group, belongs to group. And we're going to have has many attachments as well. Has many attachment. I think it's called post attachment. Yes. And we're going to change that return type into has many. Let's replace this with import as well, so that we have has many imported here. Now, if I go in the post resource again, I'm going to return group and attachments from here. That's going to be group, this group, but this group needs to be also processed by group resource, which doesn't exist for so for now I'm just going to return this group, and attachments I'm just going to return these how did I call attachments? Okay, we can just call this attachments. Okay, so this is post resource, and if we go now in the home controller, I'm just going to process these. So post resource collection, and I'm just going to provide my posts. Now let's go to the post list, and actually from the home page we have these posts, which should be passed into post list. But first, let's have a look at the posts since we processed them into post resource. So I'm going to reload, and we see right here ID, body, created, updated, user, group is null, attachments is an empty string. This is good. This is good. So we're going to pass these posts into post list. So posts is going to be my posts. Should I pass posts or posts data? So here we have links as well, which we can use for the pagination. I think we're going to use this from the meta. We have the current page, we have the per page. Yeah, this is something we can use a little later, but right now let's just provide post data. And in the post list, we have two posts, and I'm going to define props. Define props. I'm going to define posts to be array, and I'm going to iterate over my posts v4 post of posts, and I'm going to provide key here as well to be post ID, and the post will be this post. So now I save this and reload the page, and I see John Smith, which has avatar URL, but I think we are using just avatar. If I go in the post item, I think we are using avatar. Yes, in one place, but actually our user resource returns avatar underscore URL. I think we need to use it like this. Here we go. Now I have 3 posts actually created at different times. This is already coming from the database. Read more is actually useless at this point. So we need functionality to don't show this if we post is not very large. And the dates are not also well formatted. So what I'll do is just open this post resource, and I'm going to call format with year, month, day, hour, second, minute, and second. It should be uppercase Y. Okay, that's good. On the home page, let's just remove this post or maybe comment. Don't want that. And let's handle this read more in the post item. This read more. Okay. This is how we implemented read more, read less, but I take the first 200 characters. Okay, but if the post body length is less than 200 characters, then I'm just going to show it directly. If not open, or post body length is less than or equal to 200 characters, then we're going to render it directly with substring 200. And we can put this in template in v else. Now, as you see, we don't have this read more. However, if I create my new post, and let's actually use a large text, lorem, let's use this twice, paste that here and click on submit. Here's the new post. Okay, I don't see this read more. Why? If not open, what is the status of the open? False. If not open or post body length is less than 200, what is the post body length? It is 400. Not open. So this is still used because it is not open. Okay, I see. We don't need velse here. Here, what we need is the if post body length is more than 200 characters. 200, and we can even remove that part. This is how we are gonna do it. Let's remove them. Okay, now we don't see read more here because the text are too small. We see read more here. I click on that. It expands on the full text. Sorry for interruption. Before we move on, I would like you to let me know in the comment section why you think that this video was good or the entire playlist was good, how it helped to you, if it helped at all. Please let me know. Which is cool. Okay, so we have just implemented the post creation without any information and like the attachments or rich text capabilities. We just create posts. Okay, this is my another cool post. Awesome. In the next video, we're going to implement updating and deleting of the posts.